pervades the buttermilk. Like this. This Atma, this Brahman, this Ishvara pervades in such a way. So two things were pointed out. One is the all-pervasiveness of Atma, and the second is the difficulty in trying to extricate or see this. Correct? Yeah. And unlike the Tileshu Tailam, the Dhiniva Sarpihi, you don't need a churning rod to churn out the Atma from the buttermilk jiva, from the jiva that is needing to be buttered up all the time. In samsara, this is not what is going on, but the idea is it is all pervasive, but gudhaha. Yes. And the same Upanishad is going to declare at the very end, eko devaha sarva bhuteshu gudhaha. From guh, hidden, hide, to hide. And so this presents a problem. It's like a mixed bag. On the one hand, one is thrilled that it is everywhere. That what I am seeking is all pervasive. The seeker and the sought are one and the same, and I don't need to look any further. What I seek, I already am, and it is pervading the whole universe, and at the same time, it is also pervading this miserable body-mind sense complex, which I call myself the author of. And so there is no place where this oneness and this vision, this Atma, which was described earlier in wonderful terms, is missing from. It does not go MIA, missing in action. Why? It is actionless. So how can it be missing in action? It does not go AWOL, absent without leave. It's very responsible. It always applies for leave and gives 2 weeks notice. So it doesn't leave. That which doesn't leave is Atma. And you see, so that is cause for great joy. Great good happiness comes from hearing this. But at the same time, the shoulders droop at the end of the first chapter. Why? Because it is everywhere, ... But, that's when the predominant Vedantic questions of an eager beaver Vedantin come up. I know I am Atma, but how do I realize it? I know I am Atma, but how do I experience it? I know I am Atma, but how do I become it? This is how do I, and sometimes you have the question, how do I know that I know? So all these things are there. And so this is at the level of doubt. Not doubt that there is Brahman, because one has actually progressed from that. If there is doubt that there is Brahman, one is at a different stage talked about in the Taittiriya Upanishad. Asanne vasabhavati asad brahmeti vedachet. The one that denies Brahman denies his or her own self. Denial of Brahman is self-denial. Why? Because the self happens to be Brahman. So if you say there is no Brahman, it's like saying I don't exist. Not I, you. So this is the problem. And so therefore, the first chapter has left us in a kind of a very interesting predicament. There is cause for jubilation. This Brahman is not missing. It is everywhere. Everything it pervades, including this body-mind sense complex. Wherever I look, there is Brahman. Wherever I don't look, also there is Brahman. The looker is Brahman. The looked upon is Brahman. The process of looking is Brahman. Everything is Brahman, Brahman, Brahman. There is a surfeit of Brahman. But then, when you talk about this surfeit of Brahman, Sarvam Brahmamayam. And here Mayat is not Vikararthe, you can take it Swarthe. There are 3 meanings of the suffix Mayat. Prachuryarthe. Prachurya means a preponderance. So when you say Sarvam Brahmamayam, all this is verily just, Brahman alone. You don't mean to say full of Brahman. That's not what the point is. It's not a preponderance that is talked about here. Sarvam Brahmamayam, there is a song. Re Re Sarvam Brahmamayam, there is one nice song. So do you say everything is a vikara of Brahman? Yes, that's okay, but that's too literal. So here we have to take it as swarthe, a very seldom used, what is that? Seldom usage of the mayat pratyaya, swarthe mayat, in its own sense, like chinmaya. It's not a lot of chit, and because chit cannot be measured, being limitless, and it's not a modification of chit. That's not a nice name to give to a Swami or anyone. Tanmaya, chinmaya. So therefore that means what? It's not a preponderance of chit, a lot of chit, a little bit of chit, that is not there. And it's not a modification or a kind of a degraded version of this chit. No. What is it? Chit alone in its full form, in its full glory. Like this. So Sarvam Brahmamayam. So that much we know now. Sarvam Brahmamayam. But then these questions arise. What are those questions? Like how do I, quote unquote, bring this knowledge closer to myself? How do I actualize, internalize, assimilate, and in the pocket book Vedanta lingo, realize this, experience this? Because one is not understanding this basic fact. What is the basic fact? That this is atindriyam, agrahyam atindriyam. Indriyani atitya gacchati, atindriyam, that which has surpassed or transcended the sense organs. Meaning it is beyond the scope of objectification by any means of knowledge. We begin with the sense organs because they are called the primary pratyaksha of the pramanas. So it cannot be grasped by pratyaksha. It cannot be grasped by the eyes, the ears, where the mind also cannot go, really speaking. What to talk of words? And this is what, the intellect, the mind, they cannot say, we have a game, pin the tail on the donkey. Yeah. So you cannot pin the tail on Brahman. Yeah. And there, in children's parties, the children are blindfolded and they are turned around and they are given one tail and they have to go pin it on the correct place in the donkey. And then, then they open their eyes and they have pinned it on the nose, because they're not able to see what they are doing, and everybody laughs and it's fun. But here it's not a laughing matter, because the pinning, trying to pin the Brahman, pin the tail on Brahman and target Brahman and make Brahman the target, in a very immediate way, like I'm going to grab this Brahman and like a trophy and take it home and polish it and put it on the shelf so that everyone will come to know Brahman is mine, And I have got this like Oscar, we had Oscars, like this Oscar trophy, Brahman. I don't know what it would look like. Perhaps it would just be amorphous mass, prajnana ghana, and who knows. So this trophy, I just mount it in my showcase and invite people to comment on it. This is what we are used to. And this is what we also kind of extrapolate on Brahman. And the one that is wanting this trophy happens to be Brahman, happens to be in the nature of Brahman alone. And there is nothing other than Brahman. And we don't understand that the subject is not subject to objectification. And so this is a very difficult situation, because that longing with which I entered the first chapter, was given a few little bites of chocolate cake, but the whole chocolate cake, where it is kept, nobody knows. I want the whole thing. I just seem to be served a little, sliver, not even a wedge. There is no satisfaction. I'm always on the edge for more, because, I'm just given a little whiff, some cupboard, pantry, larder I open and then I get a wonderful aroma. But then the thing in question is always elusive. And that brings out the hunter in the jiva. The jiva is a hunter, really. That old hunting gathering days have not yet gone. Started out as a hunter, continues to be a hunter. The object of hunt, before it was, prakrita buddhi, meaning just basic, survival instinct. Prakrita buddhi is survival instinct. So he would go and drag something home and then cut it up and eat it, or maybe not even cut it up, just directly tear it off with the mouth. Correct? And now the object of hunting may have become more sophisticated. The hunting instruments, the karanas, have become more sophisticated. The jiva is suited, booted and tied up in samsara and is also more sophisticated. But the hunting buddhi has not gone. Yes. Before, the hunter of survival, basically, what do we call it? Roti, kapda, makan. What is that? Roti, everybody knows. Kapada is something to, some shelter. And makan means, makan is shelter, kapada is something, shelter for the body. So for those basic survival things, one was always clamoring. And even now, the clamor is more in a whisper, because everybody has become very polite and sophisticated, but the clamor has not gone. Inside, it's a cacophony of need. Because actually that same survival hunting instinct of wanting security has morphed into various desires all over the place. The desire for everything is at the crux of this particular hunting thing. It has morphed, that's all. Like a virus, as soon as you catch hold of it and give it some medicine, it morphs into something else and becomes resistant. And in fact, now there is one super hospital virus. You can only catch it in the hospital, which is a mixed blessing. You can't catch it anywhere else. So if you go to the hospital and stay too long, or, Lord Yama is hovering nearby, you catch it. And, and then it is a super virus, because it's a super bug actually, because it's resistant to all antibiotics, because in the hospital it has been, brought up on many antibiotics. It thinks every antibiotic it thinks is breakfast, lunch and dinner, and it has thrived on it, becomes stronger and more resistant. So this is how the jiva's desires have become like this super bug, and this jiva also has thrived like this super bug. In fact, the jiva can be renamed Marsa. That is the name of this, MRSA. That is the name of this super bug. Yes. That is what it is. This fellow is just so resistant to anything, any Shravanam, anything, completely resistant, jaded, faded jiva, completely sitting there, yeah, whatever you want, yeah, okay, one more class, one more Upanishad, kya hua, kuch nahi, nothing happened, again and again, what I'm doing, what, Vedanta, Shmedanta, this is what it is, this is what the fellow is, because that hunter has not been harnessed properly. That hunting instinct is a huge thing, because that hunting is karma. We saw this over the weekend. And what we are gaining here is jnanam. Then karma and jnanam are like oil and water. Jnana karma virodhat cha, Adi Shankara said in yet one more Upanishad we saw over the weekend in the Bhashya classes. So, this hunting, or the desire to hunt, is the predilection for action to gain that which is already gained without action. So you see where we are going wrong, where the jiva is going wrong and has been going wrong for centuries. And then the teachers of, some of the teachers of the Upanishad also, fan this or fuel this hunting, mechanisms, with the latent hunting mechanisms, by saying this is just theory. What is this? Shvetashvatara Upanishad. This is just theory. Then you have to go home, sit in the corner, turn off all the lights, and then actualize this knowledge in the states of meditation. You actualize this knowledge, and then what happens? Then one day something just crashes the mind, like a meteor, and then the knowledge takes place. There is one big aha moment, and then all the ties that bind are gone, and it's the experience of the knowledge. So how does this experience, this supposed experience, how does it take place? Well, it cannot be talked about. It can only be experienced. Those who talk don't know. Those who don't know talk. This is how they say. So do you know or not? Well, I do know. Then why are you talking? You should ask them that. You keep quiet then, don't talk. If you say those who know don't talk, then if you count yourself among the knowers, then don't talk. Keep quiet and give us also a break. This is what I'd like to say. But, unfortunately I have not been given the chance to say that. But this is what the whole mistake is. The mistake is dividing this knowledge, like physics or chemistry, into theory and then laboratory. But, so you go to this Brahman laboratory and then you mix Tat and Tvam, in a beaker. Correct? Yeah. And then you go something like this and then wait for that big bang of knowledge. Boom! Tattvamasi. Oh! So you see, you have to do something afterwards. You have to mix and match and pour and, do all these things, and then only like this churning rod, you churn and then you burn and then everything happens, and then, this sudden, this is what is called spiritual, fantasy. This is really what it is. The Panchadashi Kara, the writer of the Panchadashi, in another context calls it, what is that? What does he say? Manorajya. Manorajya. It's a kingdom of the mind, it's a fantasy. And he says that when you have entered the realm of fantasy, spiritual or otherwise, then, you better come back. And again, why the Bhagavad Gita, Prajahati yada kaman, sarvan manogatan kaman. So as soon as it enters the mind, you have to let it go, because otherwise it will take you for a run. It will take you for a dead end run. You'll just go round the block or round the track. And that's how the whole thing keeps you going in samsara. And that's how samsara is being reproduced. Even through Vedanta, samsara is being reproduced, because Vedanta is not being understood. And so therefore, this is a very important thing. And what is here is to give up this hunting, gathering tendency. Whether it is gathering of objects, items, textbooks, Upanishad books, grammar books, or wool gathering. Doesn't matter. Gathering is gathering. And so this gathering hunting tendency, has a few components. We should discuss them in detail. One is, it is always contingent. This tendency operates upon and is contingent upon the gain of something that one does not have. It presupposes that. Number one. That is why it is wrong, because we are talking of praptasya praptihi. We are talking of the gain of that which is already, the so-called gain of that which is already gained, the cover just needing to be removed, the cover being your own ignorance. Then the second problem with a hunting gathering thing is that, it is endless, because the objects that are hunted down are always finite. The infinite does not need to be hunted. Because why? It is the nature of the hunter. The nature of the hunter happens to be infinite. And number three, as long as one is after the finite, the infinite will play hide and go, seek, mostly hide. Hide and go, become a seeker. That's what it will say. Because the Atma, this is very important to know. And this happens because the Atma is not opposed to anything, including ignorance and karma. If you are ignorant, Atma is not going to object. Come on, shame on you. I have seen you 100,000 lifetimes you've had, and each time you've been ignorant. Don't you have any shame? Doesn't that fill you with dread? Doesn't that make you feel at least a little bit that you should pursue something, some knowledge? Atma will not say that. And if you take the Atma to be as good as the body, dehoham, I'm as good as the body, I'm as good as the mind, Atma will not object. And neither will Atma get dejected. Nobody understands me. Life after life, every 7 billion people in the universe, everyone misunderstands me. Everyone commits adhyasa. What is adhyasa? Superimposition. Yeah, everyone mistakes me for something else. I have this karma of mistaken identity. Atma doesn't sit and cry. Atma doesn't need to go to a psychotherapist to resolve this sadness. No. That's what I mean by Atma. What we call Atma is not opposed to anything, including ignorance and the brood of ignorance, kama, karma, etc. It is not opposed to it. If you are keeping on doing karma, Atma says, tathastu, keep going. No problem, I am not affected. If you say to Atma or if you say to Brahman, I don't like you, I am going to go far away from you, keep going. No problem. And then if you say to Brahman, I feel alienated from you, Brahman says, okay. And then if you say suddenly one day, oh, I feel the oneness that I seek, everything is one, everything is happy, because the idiot got one small desire fulfilled in between. That's all that happened. So suddenly the whole outlook towards the universe changed. Then also Brahman is not saying, oh, long lost prodigal child, please come into my arms. Brahman is not going to be ecstatic. Why? Because that Brahman is you. The nature of the fellow who cries and raves and rants and jumps up and down, without a tether, that happens to be Brahman. So therefore, there is really no, this hunting proclivity, this hunter within has to be, some upashamana is needed. What is upashamana? Literally means extinguishing. Yes. If you translate, in India we have fire station, correct? Yeah. None of them work, but they are still there. Fire station. And then it is translated as Agni in Hindi. Upashamana Kendra, the center which quenches the fire. So Upashamana here is to fight this fire, which is this desire to hunt, which is really setting the person on a wrong scent. That's what it is. Like when the bloodhound loses its scent and picks up the scent of a sausage instead of some big criminal that it had to do. Suddenly it saw this, some goodie, and it went after that like that. It has lost the scent. And so here, to keep the jigyasa alive, keeping the jigyasa alive is one thing, and the jigyasa kept alive has to be directed to the correct thing, that is, which is all an inside job rather than the outside job. So yes, tileshu tailam dadhiniva sarpihi, it is everywhere. It is here also, it is there also. In fact, you cannot say Brahman is outside, Brahman is inside. We say this. Brahma purastat, Brahma paschat, adho, Brahma urdhvam, Brahma. We keep saying that. Brahman is above, Brahman is below, Brahman is here, there, everywhere. That is fine. And then, the next question, which is almost always a wrong question, coming out of this hunting tendency, has to be quelled. And the questioner has to heal that question. And that question is what? How do I actualize it? How do I experience it? How do I know it? And then how do I know that I know it? This is another problem. And so this is why that tendency for this hunting has to be quelled. And the second chapter is devoted to an attempt, a drastic attempt to quell this hunting tendency, this tendency towards spiritual romanticism that we talked about, that somewhere Brahman is hiding and I am the one going to find it. Part A of the fantasy. Some people have that kind of a fantasy. And what about the rest of the people? The rest of the people just sit tight. I want Brahman to choose me. This is not your high school prom, yeah. I want Brahman to choose me, as though Brahman doesn't have other work. And then to say, okay, come, I choose you. This is what it is. So this is all spiritual romanticism. I want Brahman to talk to me. I want, keep saying that often enough, you'll go talk. That's all. Tick tock. Listen, something will go. Yes. And so therefore, all these romanticism has to be, there is no kind way of getting rid of romanticism. Spiritual romanticism. There is no kind, gentle way. Like, okay, layer by layer, one day I will take out this, one day. No. It's like sweeping. You cannot say one corner I'll sweep this week, one corner I'll go that week. And by the time you go to that week, this area is full of cobwebs, correct? So you have to do a clean sweep, and there's nothing kind and gentle about it. That's why you need, that's why the market is flooded with more and more powerful vacuums that suction out everything that is not needed. That's what it is. It's just all these things, and the vacuums are always improving. You hoover up the place at one time. You don't say, okay, this area a little bit, that area a little bit, and then and day after tomorrow I'll do something else, because by the time you do that again, you're overwhelmed by the collection. And so here also the collection, the debris of this, years of wrong spiritual imagination has piled up so much that there's no kind way to get rid of it. You have to go and just upchuck it all, dump it all out. This is what it is. And so this has to be drastic, and this has to be quick. You don't say, I'm going to spend the 3 days gradually cleaning. Nobody wants to do that. You want to be done quickly, because it's not a pleasant task. And yes, karma yoga, every task is equally important, and I should love what I do, but really, honestly, nobody wants to just linger over the cleaning, Everybody wants to be done with it quickly so that one can go have fun. And so here too, you want to do this drastically, quickly, in one sweep without leaving any residue. And so the second chapter is devoted to that, That is the good news. So, if I say that is the good news, what am I not saying? There is a caveat here. The second chapter also has been taken from the Brahmana, the portion, the first portion of the Veda, where, some of the prayers of people, where the common prayers of people actually asking for things has been, kind of taken verbatim and put here, especially at the beginning. And then the second chapter also is extremely esoteric. This is the difficult part, in the sense that if you were to just read, first of all, the translation, I amused myself this afternoon by looking at a few different translations, and it is so funny, yes. There is no connection, and I thought, am I really wrong? Am I looking at two different verses perhaps? No, it was the same verse, and 3 translations were completely off, completely different from one another. So this is, the verses are extremely esoteric, and the belief, the predominant belief in Vedanta and yoga circles is that the Shvetashvatara Upanishad chapter 2 has been a kind of a primer for the yoga school. What is the yoga school? Not yoga studio like that, but the yoga philosophy and the yoga sutras, and the yoga sutras have got their inspiration from the second chapter of the Upanishad. And so that is why, because that is, written by Patanjali or channeled by Patanjali, and this is a apaurusheya, this is a revealed text, so therefore this comes before. So these are the two things I will say by way of introduction to the second chapter. And so therefore what we are going to do is, I am going to give a summary of the second chapter. We are not going to go verse by verse, and you will see why, because we'll try to tackle one verse, and you will see what is in store, okay? And then it just gets more and more, what's the word for it? Klishta. What is Klishta? Is full of constrictions and difficulties. And so what I'm going to do is, we are not going to go into the yoga school as much, except as it informs Vedanta, our purposes, as it informs Advaita Vedanta, and there are some very useful things about the yoga, the yoga sutras, which are in terms of preparation, quietening the mind, how to sit, how to stand, what to do, how to meditate, etc. So the whole second chapter is given to Upasana, and so the first portion of it especially, and towards the end I think we will be studying in detail the last one or two verses to really bring us back and connect us to this. So that is the thing. So basically we will proceed with this. I will just be giving a kind of a summary of what the verses are trying to say. So having said that, let us just read the first verse so that we make a start with this. Yunjanah prathamam manah
Yunjanah prathamam manah
Tatvaya savita dhiyah
Tatvaya savita dhiyah
Agre jyotirnichaya
Agre jyotirnichaya
Prithivya adhya bharat.
Prithivya adhya bharat.
Yeah. So, prathamam means what to do at the beginning, which is appropriate because it is the beginning verse. What to do? Manascha dhiyascha, manascha dhiyascha, the mind and the intellect. Here, dhiya doesn't mean intellect, here it means the sense organs. See, that's why I'm saying it is so esoteric. 100 things means different things in different contexts. And in the very next verse, dhiya means intellect. So we have to really take it very carefully. So, yunjana, harnessing or bringing together, bringing together the senses, the mind, etc. to a point, like kushagra buddhi, we call it, like the point of a, what is that called? The point of a blade of grass. Kusha, blade of grass, agre, so kushagra buddhi, so bringing everything to a sharp point, the mind, the senses, etc. So why would I do that? Tatvaya, fourth case. You see that the purpose is given. Tatvaya. What is tatvaya? For the sake of tattva. What is tattva? Truth is tattva. That is the truth. Tattvamasi, that tattva is that tat means that, tattva, thatness, sometimes it is translated. And so that which is the whole, this Brahman, for the sake of understanding Brahman, I do this. And then this Savita here immediately should make us think of one thing and one thing alone. What is that? Gayatri mantra. Tat saviturvarenyam bhargo devasya dhimahi. And the whole second chapter is replete with the words Savita, Savituhu and Deva and Devasya. So that is how I will be taking the second, I will be giving the summary of this, using the Gayatri mantra as the backdrop for the meditation purposes. And so here this Savita is that Tattva alone is being called as Savita. That is that is the cause of the universe, that Bhagavan, that which shines like the sun, is alone Savita. And then Agnehe Jyotihi Nichaya. Nichaya means separating, or having discriminated. Having discriminated what? The whole, the cause of the universe from Agni, Jyoti, etc., from the 5 elements, which have come out of the earth, Prithivya. So 5 elements come out of the earth. Again, this poses a problem because in the other Upanishad it has been given in the other order, from the space to the earth. But here Here it's not that the 5 elements have come out of the earth. Here that's why only 2 things are being talked about, the fire and the light coming out of the earth. Again, very esoteric. The earth stands for the grossness of the physical body, and the fire and the light stand for this light of knowledge. The fire of mumukshutvam and the light of knowledge, which go join Savita, the cause of the universe, join again within heavy quotes. So this is basically what you get. I'm just wanted to read you this, so you get you get some kind of a understanding of what I just, you get an illustration of what I just tried to say, so that you don't think I sit here and make up things, which sometimes I do, but not this instance, not in this instance. So you see, this is what it is, because then this is where I was amusing myself, because Savita, here, what is the translation in your thing? Savita, how is it translated?
It's not correct.
It's not there?
This is the translation. May the sun at the commencement of yoga join.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. Sun at the commencement of yoga. Where is yoga in the word? There is no yoga at all here. Read.
Yeah, okay. And then join our minds and other organs to the self, so that we may attain the knowledge of reality.
Yeah, see, that is at least, at least within the ballpark in a certain way. But there was some, where
and may he, she also support the body, the highest material entity, through the powers of the deities who control the senses.
That is the next one. Yeah, that's the next one. But this one, it's extremely, somewhere I saw, Savita is called ultimate principle. What that ultimate principle, they don't define. They just named it. Ultimate principle. And then in some other place, it's Savita, they said, is above Maya. What is above Maya? Bhagavan. That they don't call it Bhagavan, but they say it is an intermediary principle above Maya. And something like Hiranyagarbha, perhaps, I don't know. And then I can only extrapolate what is in their mind. I have no idea. And then in one more translation, Savita was something which is the deity obtaining within the heart, had nothing to do with the Bhagavan in the immanent or the transcendental form. It was just, a Bhagavan that is residing in the heart, which has to be joined with the other Bhagavan. So it was a very, very interesting afternoon, because these translations were very, very getting extremely difficult to sift through. Okay, so the translations may be faithful to the verse. That's not the point here. But what do these words really mean? That is the point. So therefore we have to see the yunjana means yuj, to join, to bring together. That we understand. And so what is it that is being brought together? The mind and the sense organs. Okay, that also we understand. So the mind and the sense organs are being brought together for the sake of the truth. And how is the truth actually gained? Not by meditation, we know that. You can meditate away, and then what happens? You just have you have a calm demeanor. That's what happens. Other people love you. Why? Because you are minding your own business. That is what another thing that happens. But it does not produce knowledge, self-knowledge, because self-knowledge is not a product. It is, it is not a product that is coming and going in time and needing to be produced or actualized. It is already a self-existent fact, and it happens to be in the form of your own nature. So the meditation has got an auxiliary. We saw this in detail, so I'm just going to summarize it. The meditation has got an auxiliary, purpose for the Vedantin. So Tattvaya, you do not meditate, even though it says, it is in the fourth case, Tattvaya dhiyaha manaha eki kritva. No, you don't bring the mind and the sense organs together for the sake of gaining this Tattva. The Tattva has been gained, through Guru Mukhat, through the lineage, through the teacher, through the blessings of the lineage and the teacher. And why will the teacher bless? Why will the lineage bless? because you have spent some time sitting and listening at the feet of this teacher. That is why that is itself the blessing. That listening is converted to the blessing of the teacher, because that listening cannot happen without the teacher talking. And so you listen, and the focus is on the listening, not on the talking. Interesting, because it's not called, talking. It is called Shravanam, listening. So the onus is on the receiver of the knowledge. So if the receiver has got proper antennae, then the knowledge is there. If the antennae are dusty or out of range, or is not enough receptivity, then like the cell phone which is out of range, you don't pick up the calls, there is no Shravanam happening. And so here too, the focus is on the listening, and that listening has to, everybody can listen, anybody can listen, Sarvashraminam adhikaraha asti jnanamatre tu, Adi Shankara said. For everyone this knowledge is open and free, anyone can come. You don't need tickets or passes, or you don't have to have money, lots of money, then only you can come. Anyone can come. That's why even online we never have passwords and all these things. Everybody in the world knows the password to this to this site. We're not bothered about it, because the knowledge is you. How can anybody be charged for knowing their own nature? This is ridiculous. So it is, everybody is welcome to listen for doing Shravanam. But Shravanam, if it is not done with Shraddha, meaning if it's not done properly, Shraddha Bhakti Purassaraha Santah, in the Bhashya it is going to say later in the other class, we are going to see. So without keeping Shraddha and Bhakti in the front, if you don't listen, then that listening does not turn into a blessing. The listening just remains at the level of the intellect, the intellectual Panditya level. What is this Panditya level? Scholarly level. Yes, I know Tattvamasi. Yes, I can rattle off the sentences of the Bhashya. Paninian Sutras don't even talk about it. There's no one like me. Where shall I start? Riddhiradai Chadengunaha, Eko Guna Vriddhi, that is the last one. So you can go like this, but still it is not a Shravanam that has been blessed. This is what it is. The blessing actually is not coming from some, being bopped by a peacock feather. Sometimes gurus do that. You go for a blessing and they have this bunch of peacock feathers, and maybe something happens. I don't know. But the thing is, that's not the blessing. That's a small blessing perhaps. If the guru has some siddhi, it is passed on, and if you have a desire at that moment, the peacock feather hits the head, then something happens, some spuranam takes place. Even otherwise, if you're hit on the head with a peacock feather, then you say, what have I been doing? Oh my God, because the right part of the brain cells was, activated by this bopping action. So that could be a blessing. But that blessing is nothing compared to the Shravanam, which converts itself into a blessing by only the deployment of your own attitude as a listener. So that is how the tattva is gained. Not for this tattvaya yunjana, harnessing everything I sit for the sake of the knowledge to just percolate like a filter, It is on like a South Indian coffee filter. Now it is on top, and then I put the hot water of Tattvamasi, and then it drip, it drips. It takes 5 hours to drip, and then you have this decocted Brahman, underneath. No, that's not what we are talking about, because this knowledge does not take, it's not dependent upon time. We saw that. How long does it take to gain this knowledge? How long does it take for you to see a flower? Not long at all. If the pramana is there, the prameya is there, and the correct attitude is there, the knowledge has to take place. So there is no such thing as the knowledge is not going to take place. So the knowledge will take place and can take place, and that knowledge which makes a spoof of time is not dependent upon time. That knowledge which reveals you as timeless is not at all dependent upon time. So therefore, tattvaya, you have to sit in meditation for the sake of tattva. That is something That is the hunter buddhi. If anybody interprets it that way, it is the hunter buddhi. First external hunter, then internal raga dvesha buster. So you go with an internal vacuum. I'm going to hunt out the raga dveshas. I'm going to hunt out Brahman sitting in the cave of the heart. Guha nihitam, Brahma. I'm going to hunt out and then bring it out. Habeas corpus. I'm going to bring out Brahman and produce it before the magistrate of the witness. I'm going to do this. This is madness. This is total madness. And so here it's not that Brahman is playing hide and seek between the raga dveshas and you have to hunt out this Brahman through meditation. No. So Tattvaya should bring in the first chapter of Shravanam, should bring in the entire, liturgy of Vedanta Shastra, intro to Vedanta, ABC of Vedanta, where it is emphasized again and again that knowledge is gained through Shravanam alone, and that Shravanam turns into a blessing when it is accompanied by Shraddha, your own attitude. Shraddhavan labhate Shravanam, no. Shraddhavan labhate kim? Jnanam. Yes. So that Shravanam is converted to Jnanam, and that is the blessing. The blessing of the Pramana, the lineage, and the Guru and Atma also. So they say that we need 3 kinds of anugraha, blessings, to gain this knowledge. One is Daivanugraham. What is Daivanugraham? Bhagavan's blessings. Bhagavan's blessings means what? The law of karma. Karmadhyakshaha, he is after all the giver of the law of karma. So then if there are any obstacles, I take care of them, So before beginning this, we always do some Ganapati Homa or something before beginning the study, so that all obstacles recede. So this way, Daivanugraha, I get the blessings of Bhagavan. And what is the blessings of Bhagavan? May I be alert to any kind of karmic pitfalls that may come. And the pitfalls are many and not far between, very close together. And sometimes the pitfall just looks so attractive, so small, so harmless. And it calls you, Ehi, Ehi, Tvam, Ehi, you come over here. Look how small and, harmless I look. You can indulge in me, nothing will happen. Nothing will happen at all. And then what? And then it gives way to its dada, standing behind it with a club, ready to club any mumukshutvam that still remains. Yeah, so this is what it is. And so therefore, this vigilance is also Daivanugraham, and also this way of having this, having the blessing of perseverance is also an example of Daivanugraham. That I don't go away from this knowledge, that I don't go away from this knowledge. Maham Brahma nirakuryam, Mama Brahma nirakarot, may I not feel alienated by the teacher, by the teachings, by myself. So this is all comes under Daivanugraham. And then they say that you need Guru Anugraha, the blessings of the teacher. Like I said, the teacher is not blessing or not blessing. The teacher itself is a blessing presence for everyone, regardless of whether they wish to learn from such a person or not. The presence of a person who knows is a blessing. And so therefore, what is this? How to gain the blessing of the teacher? You have to milk the blessings by having Shraddha. That is what it is. So your own Shraddha translates the blessings of the teacher. We translate Shravanam into Jnanam, internalized Jnanam. And then finally, there is Atma Anugraha. What is Atma Anugraha? Your own receptivity, your own ability to say and think to yourself, I am ready to give up the hunter-seeker in me. I am ready to quell that. I am ready now to give myself this gift because I am deserving of this. People cannot say that. And I'm quite, I'm being quite truthful when I say this, that I have met many people. When I ask them, why are you not coming to the class? They will say, I don't deserve this knowledge in this lifetime. Because they'll give many reasons. I have done bad things, or I'm not able to understand, or I don't know Sanskrit and I'll never learn Sanskrit. Or deep down I may be good, but I have done so many omissions and commissions. How to get past that? I'm riddled by hurt and guilt, so I'm not deserving of this knowledge. And even if they may not say it, they may feel it. So much so that each time they try to come to class, some illness hits. This happens. Suddenly you don't feel well. When you're taking the chappals off at the door, the slippers, you're taking off, and suddenly you feel this mysterious sense of ill-being, not well-being. This is all the ways in which the Atma, Atma here doesn't mean Atma Satchidananda Atma. Atma here means Pratyak Atma, the obtaining indweller. That ego, that ahankara which says this body-mind-sense complex is mine, the ruler of the body-mind-sense complex, that Atma, feels non-deserving of this, and so makes up excuses. Always too busy, too sick, not well enough, something is not right, I'll come for one class but the next class is gone. So one is always flitting like a butterfly from one Upanishadic flower to another without being able to drink the juices. This is what is called the sad absence of Atma Anugraha. This is what it can do to the pursuit. In Vietnam, they have a festival, and that festival is called Hungry Ghost Festival. And you ask, who is this hungry ghost? They showed me a photograph of a big, short creature. The ghost was nothing to be afraid of. Short fellow, like a dwarf, kind of like Apasmara sitting under Dakshinamurti. Mm-hmm. Looked disproportionate and looked big and small at the same time. And then big stomach, fat, big stomach, and a needle throat. So the Hungry Ghost Festival is like Pitrupaksha for us. Do they have it in Singapore? Yeah, that's why you became very animated. I see that now. So yes, so the Hungry Ghost Festival is like our Pitrupaksha, where the ancestors who may have departed hungry from experiences or from our own omissions and commissions, our ancestors we could not take care of. So lot of food is cooked and offered to the ancestors invoked as devatas. So this is the Hungry Ghost ceremony. This is the propitiation. It's a prayaschitta karma. It's a ceremony of atonement for our own omissions and commissions with regard to the ancestors, which is that an important yajna in the Hindu, culture. Yajna means an offering. We offer to the rishis, the sages, to Bhagavan, to the ancestors, to Bhuta Yajna, to the plants and animals. There is Pancha Maha Yajna, so this is one of them. And so therefore, this is something which is done. But what fascinated me was this photo or this impression of this creature called the Hungry Ghost. Needle-throated, big stomach. How are you going to feed this? Yeah, because it will not let the food in. And here also, the person without Atma Anugraha will not let the Amrita in. It will not let the knowledge in, because it's just the opening is constricted. Yes, that is what the whole thing is. So these three forms of Anugraha are very important for letting go of this hunter buddhi to really focus, and then only when one is focused to the knowledge, then only the next question is asked. What is the next question? How do I prepare for this? Because without the value or the focus, then nobody is interested in the preparation. What will you do with the preparation? You cannot pickle the preparation. It's like and then this whole world is upside down. Because here everyone is preparing, the preparation becomes the end rather than the means. They have forgotten. It's like dressing up in a tuxedo. Where are you going? Nowhere. You're going to a concert? No. You're going to an opera? No. You're getting married? No. What are you going to do? You go, oh, some people are coming over. No. I'm just having a quiet evening by myself. Then why dress up? It's like someone who's cooking a 21-course dinner. What are you doing? Nothing. Are you having company? No. Are you going to eat it by yourself? No. Are you going to give it away to a soup kitchen? No. Just like that I cooked. Crazy, right? But then when it is so obviously crazy in terms of these examples, why does it not strike that the meditator without an end in view, or the wrong end in view, that somehow the meditation is going to produce that which is not a product? Why is this not understood? I don't know. I rest my case, really. I just don't understand why this part is not understood. And so here when it says tattvaya, that tattva is gained through all these anugrahas which I talked about, mainly through shravanam, mukhya sadhanam for moksha. The main sadhana, that itself is a sadhana. That sadhana means. Then when I appreciate moksha, and I will only appreciate the pursuit of moksha when I give up the hunter-gatherer insecurity tendencies. When I stop trying to buttress everything and prepare for a morrow that is always somewhere looming frighteningly. When I am able to let go and just see that no matter what I amass, people, wealth, beliefs, practices, knowledge, aparavidya, nothing is going to help to put a balm on that insecurity. It's not going to touch this insecurity. The insecurity is in fact becoming the superbug that I talked to you about. It's gaining strength like a hurricane. It's just keeping on going from category 4 to 3 to 3 to 2. What are these 3 to janmas? Every janma, it gains strength. And so therefore I have to see that I have to first, even to meditate properly, I have to give up this hunter-gatherer tendency, because if the hunter tendency is carried over in meditation, then I become a jiva who is chasing after the meditation. I want the perfect meditation. Yogas chitta vritti nirodha. Oh, thought has come. Oh, bad thought. Now another thought has come. So you keep going like this. You're always shaking off the thoughts. What is this? And as soon as you say, I want the perfect meditation, it's not going to come. This is what it is. So the perfect meditation is not really what we are after. And neither can meditation reveal the perfection that is you. No. So what does meditation do? What meditation does is prepare for shravanam, prepare for that shravanam so that I can listen, so that the shravanam becomes a blessing of knowledge. That is where at the level of preparation. And again, as we have talked before, the level of preparation is twofold. Chitta shuddhi, sevaya, and then chitta naischalyam, dhyanena. So naischalyam, the non-shaking focus of the mind, so that when the class is going on, you are not thinking, what will I eat afterwards? How, is it 7 o'clock? Yes, it is. But anyhow, is it 7 o'clock yet? When do I go home? What will, people say? The mind naturally goes. You can't fault the mind for doing that. But that you're able to bring it back repeatedly. Yato nischarati. Wherever it goes, whenever it goes, tathas tatha shamyet etat, he says. Atmani evam vasham nayet. Bhagavan Krishna says, each time it goes, you bring it back, And that is the purpose. Why do I need to bring it back? So that the mind stays for the sake of shravanam, mananam and nididhyasanam. I need a mind that doesn't go in all over the place. So that is what we have to see. This is how we have to see this verse. And the more esoteric aspects of what the sun stands for and what the earth stands for, and how this is a very interesting way to present the Gayatri Mantra, etc., we will see next Tuesday. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Yeah, if there are questions, I will take. Any questions? Anything online? Thank you also.